I guess we'll go with that because the reason I'm late is I overslept. But here, let me. That's not what I want to do. Okay, I gotta get the game up really quick and post that we're live on Twitter now. Now live. Today we're continuing case 3 of the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. That is the plan. And I'm never ready to actually post on Twitter that I'm live, so this takes a second. There we go. Now Twitter knows we're live. I know I'm live. And we have the game open. Let's switch over to it. And we will continue. The 18th of February, 12:52 p.m. The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. What on earth just happened in there? Mr. Naruhodo, I've managed to find out what happened. Miss Susato. I was told it was an advanced form of smoke grenade, a type of exploding device that releases smoke. A smoke grenade? It sounds like the sort of thing ninjas use. They're just making sure everything is safe now. I think the trial will start again before long. But who would have done something like that? The police managed to catch someone who was trying to flee the courtroom, apparently. Flee the courtroom? Why? Well, it's a young girl of around 15, I hear. A young girl? Then could it be the other passenger that Mr. McGilted was just talking about? My thoughts exactly. So he was not lying. Oh, what's become of Mr. McGilted actually? There's so many things I need to ask him about, but he's not here. I think he was summoned to the prosecutor's antechamber to answer questions, along with the young girl. Who is she, I wonder? And what was she even doing here at the trial? She was taking a huge risk, and for what possible benefit to herself? There's another matter that's troubling me. What's that? The 20 pence. Oh, according to the coachman, Mr. Beppo, he took 4 passengers that night at a fare of 5 pence each. That comes to a total of 20 pence exactly. But now it seems there were in fact 5 passengers aboard, which means the figures don't seem to add up again. She's right. That is strange. Counsel for the defense, kindly proceed to the courtroom. The trial will recommence in 5 minutes. Oh, thank you, officer. We'll go in straight away. Well, whoever she is, I imagine this young girl will be asked to take the stand and testify now. I really can't imagine what she's going to say, but it could alter the whole direction of the trial. We'll know soon enough, Miss Susata. Yes. 18th of February, 1 p.m. The Old Bailey courtroom. There's the young girl next to Mr. McGilded. Look. She must have been the one who caused the disturbance before. Well, after that rather eventful recess, the court will now resume the trial of Mr. Magnus McGilded. Now then, Lord Van Zeeks. My lord, I believe you have established the cause of the smoke which veiled the proceedings earlier. It seems to have been an advanced form of smoke grenade, the sort typically employed by the army. Good gracious, the army? What in the devil's name? It was an elaborate attempt by the young girl to cloak her escape from the public gallery, but she was caught. And now occupies the stand. Your name, girl? Are you responsible for the smoke grenade which induced such pandemonium here in my courtroom? What is the meaning of this deplorable behavior? If I may, my lord. Yes, Mr. McGilded. I think perhaps I ought to explain here. Why, this wee lass was here in the first place, and why she tried to bolt like that. 'Tis all tied up with the events of that night, so it is. Very well, Mr. McGilded. Give your testimony. You will explain to the court exactly how this young woman is involved in the case. Just what did happen last night? That night, rather. It's not like a defense lawyer needs that information or anything. We'll be fine. Witness's testimony. The young girl. On the night in question, I took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly nodded off. Then, begorra, a loud thud and a wee scream woke me up with a fair start. There was a fella collapsed on the floor at me feet, so I sat him up on the seat across from me. Then I turned to find out where that scream had come from, and bless my soul, what did I find? There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away. I remain somewhat baffled, I confess, but from what I gather on the night in question, this young girl was indeed riding in the omnibus. Is that correct? 'Tis exactly as the defense counsel said. This lass was the fifth passenger, my lord. Very well. The defense may now cross-examine the witnesses. Are you ready, counsel? Yes, my lord. Or rather, no. I have no idea where to start. Cross-examination. Took the back seat in the omnibus and promptly just start pressing everything. And when you first got onto the omnibus, were there any other passengers already on board? There were not. The cabin was empty, and there was no one on the roof deck either. You were the first passenger, as it were. I see. That's why I took the backside as I did. 'Tis the most comfortable, so it is. Could you explain exactly what you mean by the back seat? By all means. 'Tis how you already described it earlier. I'm talking about the seat opposite the one in which the poor gentleman who was stabbed was sitting. Like I said, 'tis the most comfortable and where I feel most at ease. And of course, I enjoy gazing through the skylight from time to time as well. Okay, press this. A loud thud, you say, and a scream? Aye, 'tis right. How can I explain it? 'Twas like the sound of someone falling to the ground. That sort of noise. So you think it was the sound of Mr. Mason falling to the floor having been stabbed? Well now, you'll remember I was asleep at the time, so I wouldn't like to say. And when the sound woke me, and I opened my eyes, there wasn't a soul to be seen in the carriage but the fella on the floor. You didn't see anyone, but at the same moment you did hear a scream. Ah, from the seats above you on the roof deck, I presume? Not above me, no, my lord. 'Twas from inside the cabin. But I wasn't altogether thinking about the scream. No, I was too stunned by the desperate sight before me eyes. There we go. There's a fella collapsed to the floor. Hold it! You sat him up. The victim, you mean? That I did. On the seat across from me, as I said. I could plainly see the poor devil was plainly already gone. And you wouldn't leave a dead man just lying on the floor now, would you? 'Tis common courtesy, so it is. What's up with the hand gesture? I find that a little hard to believe. Ah. Lord Van Zeeks, now why would that be? You wake to find a man lying dead at your feet in a carriage. Any normal person would hail the cabman. Any upstanding member of London society, that is. Well now, As you know, I'm something of a special. I'm in something of a special line of business. The business of lending money at exorbitant rates of interest. Unfortunately, my lord, not everyone is thankful for the help I offered them, and some would even see me dead. So I do try, where at all possible, to avoid getting myself in a tangle with trouble. Are you suggesting you were just going to leave the man there? Heavens alive, no. I was always intending to report it, so I was. Only, I had a mind to find out the whys and wherefores first. The whys and wherefores? Right you are. There were some details I wanted to understand before anyone else got to meddling. That wee scream I heard, for example. Wouldn't your good self do just the same? Yes, the scream he says he heard at the same time of the thud of the victim collapsing.
Hold it!
I'm afraid I don't understand. I'm sure you told the court that there was no one else in the carriage except yourself and the victim. So I did, sir, so I did. As far as I could see, that is. What do you mean by that? Well now, 'tis a queer thing. The wee scream I heard as I woke up. It came from, you'll excuse the vulgar expression, under me backside. Good gracious. Hi, introvert. Under your backside. And when I lifted the seat on which I'd been sitting, I found there was a wee cubbyhole there for storage. Mr. Naruhodo, we can examine the omnibus ourselves, remember? Yes, of course. The whole bus was submitted as evidence. This would be a good time to have a thorough look around the inside. And that's when I found her. Eating some egg roll. Very nice. Oh, I'm alright, I just had lunch. That's why my stream started a little bit late. There was a child in there, all curled up in a ball, hiding her wee self away.
Hold it!
I had some peanut butter toast for lunch. You say she was hiding herself? Aye, that's right. 'Twas hard to see in the dim lamplight, but she was all curled up in a wee ball. When our eyes met, well, me heart nearly stopped beating in me chest. Yeah, I'm sure the egg rolls are good too. You're really overacting this. Still in all, I pulled her out from under there and sat her up on the seat opposite so I could have a wee chinwag with her. The seat opposite. That's right. Just next to the dead gentleman there. Why would you have the girl sit next to a dead body? That's messed up. You sat this young girl next to a corpse, sir? Well, as I'm sure I mentioned, a gentleman in my position can all too often find himself in mortal danger. So, I needed to find out just who this urchin was, you see. Why would he make her sit next to the corpse? There was another seat. And while I was in the middle of talking to her, I heard another scream, a fella's voice this time. Presumably that scream was Mr. First, who was sitting on the roof deck above the seats. Well, on the roof deck seats. Right you are again, I would say, sir. Looking down through the skylight, he must have seen this young girl and the gentleman with the knife in his belly. In other words, the previous witnesses did not, in fact, see you at all, Mr. McGilded. What they believed to be yourself and the victim was in fact this girl and the late Mr. Mason. Aye, my lord. I was, as I think everyone understands now, sat at the back of the carriage out of sight. It is certainly plausible. The defendant is somewhat diminutive in stature, and readily confused, perhaps, with this young girl. After that, of course, with the scream from the gentleman over us, the driver realized something was wrong and pulled up the horses. Thank you. I've heard enough. The events as explained are clear in my mind. However, at least one conundrum remains. Who is the girl? I gotta figure out how I'm gonna voice her. Her name is Gina Lestrade, my lord. She's a chancer, earns her crust among large crowds, relieving people of their purses. What's commonly called a pickpocket. What? This girl here, a petty thief? Order! Order! Is this true, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade, you will answer the question. What is that? Ah! How dare you? What is the meaning of this? Ah! The girl, she's gone. Why? They let her have a gun. Open your eyes. Okay, wait. I gotta think for a second on her voice. I think I'll try this. I'm over here. Good gracious, how? What was the point in that little sidestep? I know what you lot are thinking. Grown-ups are all the same. This dirty little dipper, you'll say, slipped up and got caught on the job. She's got herself backed into a corner, so she knifed the gent. Go on. That's what's in your heads, ain't it? No, not at all. I mean, thinking of where she was hiding in the carriage, it's actually impossible that she stabbed the guy. This is a court of law. We're here to determine that Renosuke is dead. Look, knives are for cowards. Only thugs use weapons like that. All I need for what I do is these fingers. I'm a professional, alright? Maybe not in your eyes, but I got pride in what I do. Let me guess, you don't count smoke guns among weapons for thugs. Oh, this? Yeah, this was in a bag I lifted the other day, down where they keep the four-wheeled drags. It's nice in it. I like the pink best. Do not wave that thing in my direction again. So, you admit that you were riding the omnibus on the night in question? 'Tis all right, lass. You can tell them the truth now. All right? Yeah, it's just like the Irishman said. The court accepts this girl, Miss Gina Lestrade, as a valid and significant witness in the case. Accordingly, young lady, we will now hear your testimony, if you please. You will tell the court exactly what happened on the omnibus that night. All right. If I have to. If I have to. What the girl saw. Well, she wouldn't have seen anything. So I snuck inside the carriage before they hooked up the horses, just like always. No music. But it was a right old waste of time. I got nothing to show for me troubles that night. I'll tell ya, you can't see a blind thing in that hiding place. It's pitch in there. Then, after a while, I hear this loud bang. Nearly jumped out of my skin. I did, and the scream just came out. It's because of that. This swell found me. He did help me get away in the mind. It's a little bit hard to keep her place where I was trying to have it. Yes, he let you go. I fail to understand why you'd let this street urchin go, Mr. McGill did. Oh, 'tis simplicity itself, my lord. You see, she couldn't possibly have killed the other passenger. I knew that for a fact. How? Well, it's... as I'm sure I said before, sir. I was sitting right on top of the place where she was hiding herself. I think a demonstration is called for. This is where I sat on that night. And the cubbyhole of which you've spoken is underneath this seat, I presume. Yes, it does appear just large enough to accommodate someone of the girl's stature. Aye. But of course the wee lass was stuck in there. Because I'd parked myself on the seat for the duration. Ah. So you see, that's why I let the lass bolt. I knew that if the police found her there, they'd automatically assume she'd done it. But I couldn't live with myself if a young life was ruined when all the time I knew she was innocent. Even though you must have realized your action would result in your own innocence being called into question. Not at all, my lord. Not at all. I knew in me own heart that I was innocent. So I thought it was worth taking a punt on my own good name for the sake of this less fortunate lass. My goodness, what a perfect gentleman. My lord, this fine example of a man cannot possibly be guilty of a heinous crime like this. I am ashamed of myself for ever doubting you, sir. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Saints alive! All 6 members of the jury, consensual in their leaning to a verdict of not guilty? Wait, what's... Mr. Naruhodo, this... Well, it must mean... It must mean... what? That we're victorious. We've... won? Are you sure?
Objection!
If the sight of my iron-heeled Wellington offends, pray, do forgive the discourtesy. Why is he putting his feet on the bench now? This really is a consummate example of the one monumental flaw in British judicial practices. Where evidence and reasoning should be paramount, emotion rules the day. Emotion? The witness's latest statement gives us a clear insight into his true nature. What do you mean, his true nature? Do you really think Scotland Yard would have made such a glaring omission? After the incident, the omnibus was comprehensively searched by the officers of the police. Obviously, the interior of this cubbyhole, as the witness put it, was included in their investigation. The compartment under the posterior seat was full of the coachman's belongings. It's noted in black and white here in the police report. Good Lord. The evidence has been tampered with. In order to corroborate Mr. McGilded's story, someone has unlawfully removed everything from under the seat. What? Wait, but that stuff was under the seat earlier. Like when I looked through the carriage earlier, that stuff was in there. Order. Order! How could such a devious contrivance possibly have been affected, counsel? Couldn't she fit in there anyway? Naturally, we must acknowledge the deficiencies of the constabulary in allowing this to have happened. However, I assure you, when the omnibus was wheeled into the courtroom this morning, the compartment under the seat was not empty. Well, my Nipponese friend. Me? When the carriage was submitted as evidence, doubtless you examined it in fine detail, as would any self-respecting practitioner of the law. Pray, what did you find the condition of the underseat compartment to be? Oh, to be sure, the young gentleman will be able to clear this up in a jiffy. Sorry? Go ahead. You tell the court now, fella. How this is all an elaborate excuse by the desperate Lord Van Zeeks. Well, counsel, do you have something to say on this matter? How am I supposed to answer? What can I say about the state of that little compartment under the seat in the omnibus? It wasn't empty, I know it wasn't. Unfortunately, I'm pretty sure I have an obligation to tell the truth while within this court of law, or I'll be penalized. I really don't know if giving this answer is helping my case, my cause as counsel for the defense. But as far as I remember, at least, when I first examined the compartment, I'm fairly certain there were a number of articles inside it, yes. Are you sure, counsel? Are be whist? What are you saying now, you daft dog? I thought you were on my side here. What game are you playing? Your task is to defend the man in the stand. Why would you say something to compromise his position? As the advocate in the defense, for this trial, I confess I'm still not entirely sure where I stand, but it seems to me that I should state what facts I do know as clearly and honestly as possible. Interesting. 'Tis not altogether pleasant, fella. I'm simply telling the truth, Mr. McGilded. Well, don't forget that you're supposed to be representing my best interests here, lad. Now then. A fellow's memory is a curious thing, and not altogether reliable. No, the court must consider the facts. That there cubbyhole under the seat is as empty as the devil's heart, so it is. Do you think, perhaps, it would be in your best interest now to admit that you might have been mistaken? Why do I feel like something's not right here? I should like the jury to weigh in on this matter, I think. That compartment is designed to house equipment, used to maintain the smooth running of the carriage. The Guild's rules state that the omnibuses should be properly and fully equipped at all times. So it certainly wouldn't have been empty on the night in question. Beppo isn't that irresponsible. That money-lending fleecer and the pick purse are lying. I can't believe I was nearly taken in. The stinking rich are Always stinkers. Nothing but cowards, the lot of them. What? Oh no. This is a trick. Of course it's a trick. Quite so. I must concur here. With calm, calculated reasoning, one arrives clearly at the truth every time. Yes, but every time a different truth, it seems. My lord, I humbly exhibit the scales of justice. Clearly, a verdict of not guilty at this time would be wholly inappropriate. Thank you, counsel. But before we proceed any further, there is the matter of the outstanding cross-examination. Counsel for the defense, begin your questioning of the witnesses, please. Witness. Yes, my lord. What just happened? The whole balance of the trial just shifted almost beyond recognition. The Reaper of the Bailey is at work, it would seem. What the girl saw.
Hold it!
So, you were already in the omnibus before it even set off on its run? Well, yeah. I mean, what's the point of spending a joey to make a few bob, eh? That's a rum idea, innit? Suppose she means there's no point in spending money to make money. It actually makes sense. Counsel, may I remind you that this girl is a petty thief. Kindly refrain from entertaining her tenants. Well, that does clear up the little mystery of the fares and all. 4 paying passengers at 5 pence apiece, making the 20 to which the cabman testified. And 1 little scapegrace riding for free. The red conch of a driver always goes for some grub before his last run, see? That's when I slip into the carriage and get myself in and under the seat. Nice and easy, right? But your hiding place is a storage compartment. Full of equipment for the coach. No. Yeah. There's brushes and buckets and whatnot in there, for sure. I always chuck all that stuff out and cram it in a corner somewhere. No one ever seems to bother much. And yet, according to the report filed by the police officer who first arrived at the scene, the compartment was full of such paraphernalia. Well, I don't know nothing about that. Like I said, I moved all that stuff out so I could hide under the seat. That's all I can tell you. It seems we've reached the end of that line of inquiry. Continue.
Hold it!
A waste of time. Why is that? Well, Most nights, I'm on my own in the god permit. At least some of the time. I beg your pardon. Did you say god permit? I have no clue what that means. Oh, yeah. Well, that's what my kind call it. You'd say the omnibus, I suppose. The point is, any normal run, the carriage ain't got no one in it for a while. And that's when you come out of your hiding place and get away. That's it. Only on that night, this cove was sat on me seat from the start. And he didn't budge the whole way, did he? Not 1 inch. I was totally stuck. Do you mean to tell us that you were present in the carriage for the duration? You were under the seat the entire time while events unfolded in the enclosed cabin? Yeah. Right, mister. To be sure, to be sure. I was as shocked as anyone. You don't expect to lift the cushion you've been sat on and find a child now, do you? So this Miss Lestrade couldn't possibly be the culprit then. Can't see a...
Hold it!
Yep. So you couldn't see out into the cabin at all? Not a jot. Most days I push the cushion up with me head and look out the crack. Then I can have a butcher's at who I'm gonna fiddle. I thought you were a pickpocket, not a butcher. I mean, I can have a look. The seat I get under ain't as plush as the other one, see? So most of the time, the passengers plant themselves opposite. But for some reason that night, this here Irishman spent the whole journey right over me head. And for that reason, you weren't able to push the cushion up to peek out, I see. Truth is, I ain't too happy in small, dark places. Feels too much like being thrown in the clink. But it's the only place to hide in them carriages. So it's Obson's choice. So why doesn't she just stick to picking people's pockets in the open then? I say there's some reason that she's not letting on, judging from her demeanor. So anyways, I was a bit scared, but I had to just stick it out under there. Nothing else for it. Then, after a while, press. When you say a loud bang, do you mean the noise of someone falling to the floor? Could have been, I suppose. I don't remember so well. Point is, it made me jump. And you let out a scream involuntarily. That's right. And then I felt the cushion over me head get lighter all of a sudden. Presumably when the defendant got up in order to help the victim, yes? Or not. It could equally have been the moment the accused stood in order to stab his victim, could it not? Well, girl, Did you see what happened at that crucial moment? Yeah, I saw it. I pushed up the cushion and had a quick butcher's. Well, I had the chance, didn't I? The Irishman was sitting up the bloke what had fallen on the floor on the seat opposite. That matches Mr. McGildy's account, of course. But then, the fella suddenly turns around and looks right at me. I sunk back down again, but it was too late by then. I should have never have risked looking.
Hold it!
And when Mr. McGilded discovered you, he pulled you out from your hiding place. I was scared stiff I was. He dragged me out and sat me down on the seat and all. Next to the victim, Mr. Mason. Yeah, the bloke had a knife in his guts. He was still bleeding. Then the carriage lurched a bit, and he ended up falling onto me. How awful. Both me and got covered in blood. It made me feel sick as a dog. Both her hands covered in blood. That must be what the rooftop passengers saw. After that, I believe you talked with Mr. McGilded for a while. Is that correct? He asked me some stuff. Wanted to know me name and what I was up to and that. Then I heard something from above. Someone screamed. Yes, Mr. First on the roof deck, one would presume. Well, I didn't want no one seeing me face, so I didn't look up. Then the horses were drawn up, smartish, and this here Irishman says to me, "Get back under the seat. I'll see that you can get away later." All 6 members of the jury had decided the defendant was innocent. For one brief, shining moment, yes. It's clear that they are all still very unsure. If we could just find some conclusive piece of evidence among this new testimony, I'm sure we would clinch the verdict we want. Yes, I think you're right. And I have this niggling feeling. Something's bothering me, but I just can't quite put my finger on it. Do I have... Right, old waste of time. I'll tell you, can't see a blind thing. It's pitch. I can't... I gotta look at the court record. What about it is bothering me? Was it about the fact that she... Hmm... Can't see if... I think that's fine. Um... What is wrong here? I'll just press again. Um... Let's see. Is this it? The stuff in the storage compartment? Cram it in a corner somewhere. I'm... Let's just see if I can pursue McGilded on something. Let's see.
Hold it!
Let's see.
Well, no.
Oh, there we go. We got him this time. Is something wrong, Mr. McGilded? Oh, I do apologize. Was there something the matter, Counsel? I was just wondering if Miss Lestrade's last comment made something occur to you, perhaps? You seem to be thinking something to yourself. Oh, no. 'Twas nothing important. I was feeling bad for the poor lass is all. I remember feeling desperate myself as a young lad. Shut up in the dark. 'Twas terrifying, so it was. I see, I'm sure we can all sympathize. I'm still scared of the dark now. And I don't know about yourself, but I find that the darkness seems to make everything you hear seem that much louder as well. Yeah. I I suppose it does. Maybe. Uh, Miss Lestrade? Did you hear something that night? Anything? An unusual noise, perhaps? Nah, not really. All I could hear was the Irishman snoring. Jaffers! There's no need to tell the whole world of me foibles, you little scamp. What is that word, jabbers? Thank you, Mr. McGilded. What a pity. If only Miss Lestrade had heard something, it might have given us a vital new clue. Yes. What should we make of that last statement of hers? It's very significant because if she heard him snoring, he was obviously asleep, which also means she would have known when he woke up. My lord, I believe the statement just made by the witness is profoundly important. Profoundly important, but all she said was that she heard nothing. Yes, which is the profoundly important point. I'm almost sure of it. I'm almost sure that I don't understand the inner workings of your Eastern mind, Council. Nevertheless, Miss Gina Lestrade, you will supplement your formal testimony by repeating that last statement, please. Oh, what? Supplement? What are you on about? Don't give me all your fancy talk. I know what you're trying to do. Well, it won't work on me. That's right, insult the judge. Always a good move. I was straining my ears to work out what was going on, but all I could hear was snoring.
Hold it!
So you were straining to hear what was happening in the entire time since the moment you hid yourself? Not exactly, no. Sorry? Well, there was no one in the cabin to start with. I could just push up the cushion and have a butcher's to see what was what. But then, I saw this swell getting on. I got me head down so he didn't notice me. And Mr. McGilded sat on the seat under which you were hiding, correct? Yeah. Would you Adam and Eve it? Eh? What a mug. So then, all I could do was listen. I was waiting to jump out of there as soon as I heard him leave, see? But would he? Not likely. Even though we stopped here and there, I never heard the door open. So I just had to stay put and listen to him driving him driving his pigs to market, snoring like an old dog he was. Are there any conclusions we can draw from that? It doesn't add up. Miss Lestrade, what you've just told the court is clearly at odds with the facts. Ah, at odds, are you sure, man? Absolutely. It seems, my learned Nipponese friend, is not as dull-witted as I feared. So Van Zieks realized it too. If she never heard the door open again, then how did Mason get in the cabin? Counsel, I must insist you bolster your claim with evidence, or some complicit party's name, at the least. Yes, my lord. I expect you to demonstrate this alleged contradiction to the court. According to Miss Lestrade, while she was hiding in the omnibus that night, she heard nothing but the sound of Mr. McGilded snoring. But think, Ryunosuke, think. There's something else she should have heard. Show a person. Very well, my lord. Allow me to elaborate. On a particular sound that Miss Lestrade could not have failed to hear on the night in question. The sound very clearly explained by the presence of the following person. The victim, Mr. Mason. Thrice fired Mason. Yes, my lord. The sound that Miss Lestrade cannot have failed to hear is that of the victim, Mr. Mason, boarding the omnibus. Order! Order! Explain your reasoning, counsel. Miss Lestrade, allow me to confirm something. You claimed earlier that you were the first person on board the omnibus. Is that correct? Yeah, of course I was. I got on while the driver was in the pub, didn't I? And the next person to board the omnibus was Mr. McGilded? That it was. Not a soul was in the cabin when I climbed aboard. At least, not in plain sight. So, you were, to all intents and purposes, alone in the enclosed cabin of the omnibus at the time? Did I not just say as much? I wasn't traveling with anyone else, if that's what you mean. Yeah, I saw him get on, remember? Through the crack under the seat cushion. He was on his own, for sure. And, from what we've heard, the carriage made a number of stops after that on its onward journey. During which time, did you not hear the door opening or closing at all? Nah, I never heard it. That's exactly what I was listening for, weren't I? Waiting for this swell to leave. In which case, when and how did the victim end up in the carriage? Ah. Oh. Oh, I see what's going on. Wait, I understand. We know that the victim collapsed inside the enclosed cabin of the omnibus. Therefore, Miss Lestrade's statement about what she did or did not hear is at odds with the facts. Wait, 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 I understand. I don't know who did it yet, but I understand what happened now. Okay, I'm gonna explain myself before we get a little further, just because it's gonna take a while for them to get to this in the game. So, like, the cabin door was locked, right? For the other passengers. So, the question is, when did the cabin door get locked? I think what happened is the victim, Mr. Mason, was... Oh no, that means I know who the killer is too. It's, the killer's... Wait, no. The knife must have belonged to Mason, right? Oh, okay. I don't know who the killer is yet, but maybe McGill did lock the door to the carriage when he boarded so no one else could have sat inside with him. So Mason actually was sitting on the roof, and then when someone else boarded, like after someone else boarded the carriage, um, they stabbed him, and it looks like the skylight has a latch that can be opened from the top. So he was dropped from the roof of the roof of the carriage onto the floor of the cabin, and there was no one else that sat inside the cabin ever. Because I was wondering earlier if someone had dropped in through the skylight and stabbed him, but evidently he started on the roof. So I still don't know who the killer is. That'll probably become relevant when we figure out who that knife actually belongs to. But I'm like 100% sure that that's the order of events now. Yes, this petty thief's statement was clearly flawed. Lord Van Zeeks. Yes. He knew. He knew all too well that there was an inconsistency in Miss Lestrade's testimony. It would seem words of thanks are in order for my learned friend. What are you talking about? You have demonstrated matters impeccably. This witness and her colorful statements are entirely unreliable. Her words are convenient untruths, nothing more. No, I'm sure she's telling the truth. That's the only way we can prove he's innocent. He's dead right. How could the victim possibly not boarded? That makes no sense. And the girl is a pickpocket, let's not forget that. No, she has to be telling the truth. She didn't even say anything. I didn't want to judge the dear little mite just because she has some rather naughty ways. But I must say, I can't do an old lady voice. I can't abide liars. And neither can I. Mr. Foreman, I didn't want to judge the girl just because she has some less than salubrious ways. But I must say, I cannot abide liars. No. Ah. Mr. Naruhodo, that's 5 jury members leaning towards guilty. Well, your consideration for others is refreshing, my Nipponese friend. To the considerable troubles you have spared me. Yes, very refreshing. Ah! Gar! What are you playing at? Have you forgotten who you're working for, you useless Eastern Adaman? Amadin? There's lots of weird words in here. This is carnage. It's perfect. Juror number two is the only one left. Mr. Naruhodo, the way this is going... I know, if we can't find some new way to convince everyone of Mr. Gilded's innocence, the judge will rule and will have lost. I very much wanted to believe the words of one of London's most respected gentlemen, but those of us in service know we must accept hard truths.
Hold it!
Yes, the witness's last statement seems to have revealed a critical inconsistency in her story. However, if we consider the possibility that her statement is in fact the truth, it may shed an entirely new light on this whole case. What are you saying? Counsel? I'm sorry, sir. Whatever do you mean? Counsel, I will not tolerate you attempting to prorogue my adjudication. Explain yourself at once. When the accused boarded the omnibus on the night in question, the victim was nowhere to be seen. Subsequently, the carriage door was not heard opening a single time, as testified by the witness in the stand. And yet, the victim's body was found inside the carriage. If this petty thief's words are to be believed, how do you explain the victim's miraculous appearance inside the cabin of the omnibus? There's only one way to explain how the victim came to be inside the carriage. There's another entrance. If the door wasn't opened even once, the only explanation is that the victim entered the cabin some other way. I wondered what new fantasy you would come up with in your blind panic. But behold, the omnibus is here for all to see. Only one side of the enclosed cabin is furnished with a door. The other only has windows. Fixed windows, which cannot possibly open in short. There is no entrance to the cabin other than the door. But there's one possibility you have not considered. Oh, really? Yes, one other way inside that is not the door. Another opening, the use of which allowed the victim to appear inside the enclosed cabin. Alright, counsel. The defense will identify the location for the court. Here is the omnibus on which the incident occurred. Where on earth is this entrance by which you propose the victim entered the cabin? Right here. Easily right here. Oops, wrong button.
Take that!
The answer is obvious. It can only have been the skylight. I say, the skylight.
Objection!
Your ludicrous proposal almost has me lost for words. However,
Objection!
the skylight may well be large enough for someone to pass through.
Objection!
So you claim. But do you have a shred of evidence to support your addle-brained theory? Both Mr. McGilded and Miss Lestrade said the same in their testimonies. They each claim to have heard a loud thud, such as the noise made by someone falling to the floor. Yes, which has already been explained as the sound of the victim falling from his seat, having been assaulted with a dagger. Yes, it has, but would a man slipping from the seat onto the floor really have made such a loud noise as the witnesses describe? A noise loud enough to cause Miss Lestrade to let out an involuntary cry, in fact. Good gracious. Perhaps, in fact, that was the moment the victim made his entrance to the cabin. No, let me rephrase that. The victim didn't enter the cabin as such. He fell into it.
Objection!
You're now suggesting that the victim fell from the skylight into the cabin. That's simply impossible. How can you be so sure? Because if the victim had fallen inside through the skylight, as you say, the passengers on the roof deck would have seen it happen. And yet, not one person made mention of such events in their testimony. Well, yes, that's true, but might a humble fella make a wee comment here? Mr. McGilded? To be sure now, the two fellas who were sat on the roof that testified afore said nothin' of the victim falling through the skylight. But it seems to me, my lord, that 'tis not so much a case of them not saying, but aye, 'tis a case of them being unable to say. What? I think perhaps the two fellas do be having something of a compelling reason not to mention what happened. Would yous not agree, fine ladies and gentlemen of the jury? Hmm? Oh my goodness, surely not. Those two chaps on the roof. You mean the ones who stuck the knife in the man were? Ah! Hold it. Just what exactly are you insinuating here, you blitherer? You rotter, he said, you rotter. What are you insinuating? Why would he turn into a horse? This is a flaming outrage. I've a good mind to give you a blinker in a minute. He'll give you a shiner in a minute, he said, and so will I. Why is he a horse? Mr. Fairplay, you're effectively accusing me, a city gentleman and well-respected banker, and me, a very angry hatter, suggesting that someone like me could have stabbed that man in the guts. It's a disgrace. It's scandalous. I protest. I protest in the strongest possible terms. That's right. I protest, too. About you, you rotten scoundrel. Is he gonna punch Mr. McGilded? Well, he's gonna punch someone. Order! Order! This is not the time, witnesses. I will not permit This wanton invasion of the stand. Return to the anteroom at once. But this is beyond reason, my lord. It's outrageous. It's very hurtful, you know. My lord, if I may comment. Go ahead, Lord Menzies. It was the defense that incited this outburst from the witnesses. My learned friend here has seen fit to abandon all protocol and accuse the witnesses without proof. Accuse? I never intended to. It seems, young Nipponese, that your command of the English tongue is wanting. You proposed to this court that the victim fell through the skylight from the roof deck of the omnibus. That hypothesis cannot possibly stand without the rooftop passengers being aware of events. You have branded these gentlemen liars. You have intimated their criminal guilt. In our British courts of law, that is what is termed a baseless accusation. I know I was rash to put this idea forward without any actual evidence, but you can't just dismiss it without any second thought. What are we wasting time for? Get them to testify. I thought there was something up fishy about that hat from the moment I laid eyes on the fellow. We have seen this matter through now. We have to see this matter through now, one way or another. If there's filth and rubbish in our midst, we must dispose of it at once. What's happening, Mr. Naruhodo? The spectators in the public gallery, they're in a complete frenzy. Instantly silence from the gavel. Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First. My lord. You will take the stand again and make another formal testimony in reference to the indictment brought by the defense. Yes, my lord. I didn't come here for this. There's no time to think this through. All I can do now is keep pushing forward. Refuting the accusation. We are the only two people on that roof deck, dead or alive. I can swear to that. If anything happened while we were there, while you're sitting, don't you think one or the other of us would have noticed? In any case, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. We had no reason to kill the man. The skylight was shut the entire time, I tell you. We couldn't possibly have opened it. Well, that's a lie. If you're so sure the victim fell through the skylight, where's your proof? I must say that on listening to this testimony is somewhat hard to imagine. How either witness could have performed any malevolent act on this open rooftop deck without the other noticing forthwith. That's right. You see, we're innocent, I tell you. Although, logically, of course, the argument falls down if the two of you were in collusion with one another. What? Eh? According to the investigations by Scotland Yard, the two witnesses share no common dealings. Huh. I don't trust coppers any more than I trust the stinking rich. Something doesn't feel right here. The trial is going in our favor, really. So why do I feel so uneasy? Counsel for the defense, over to you. Your cross-examination, please. Oh, yes, my lord. Refuting the accusation. Only 2 people on the roof deck, dead or alive, I can swear by that. So at no time did the victim, Mr. Mason, climb up to join you on the roof deck? Absolutely not, you dickon. No question about it, he said. None at all. Oh, but yes, of course I remember seeing them both. I saw the victim in the enclosed cabin talking with this man here. Is this true, Mr. McGilded? Dear me, my lord. At the risk of repeating myself, I boarded the omnibus alone and nodded off inside almost immediately. That's an outright lie. Without doubt you were engaged in... Let me stop you there, fella, and ask, do you have any evidence at all? At all. Ah. 'Tis all about evidence in the courts these days. So it is. You do well to remember that. I saw you with my own eyes. This is going so well. If anything had happened while we were sitting, don't you think one or the other of us would have noticed? Well, it was on the final run of the omnibus, at past 10 o'clock in the evening. It would certainly have been quite dark, perhaps too dark to see clearly. Is this some kind of lark? Is this some kind of joke, he said? Is that what this is? Or perhaps one or the other of you fell asleep briefly? Are you fair dinkum, sir? Are you serious, sir? That's what he said. It's impossible, I tell you. I'd give you the keys to the vault if you could fall asleep in that bitter cold. And if you did manage it, your eyelids would freeze shut, and you'd never open them again. That's extreme. It was extreme, I tell you. And we had to put up with it because this man had locked the door. Any true gent would have unlocked it and let me in when I knocked. I'm dreadfully sorry about that, young fella. But you see, I was away with the fairies, and I didn't hear you at all. That's a lie. I saw you through the glass. You were talking to someone. Now, 'twas a cold night, so it was. People do be seeing things that aren't real in the cold. 'Tis hardly surprising. Seeing things. I believe we've reached an impasse here on this particular point. You... Don't take it personally now, lad. If I'm a suspect in this case, then 'tis only fair that you and the other fiend are too. Open and free competition is what a capitalist society is all about. This isn't a competition I should like to be involved in, really. In any case, neither of us know the first thing about the victim. So, you had never met Mr. Thrice Fired Mason before? Oh, Loom, no. Not once. Never. He'd never met the men before, he said? Never. And you, Mr. First? Had no prior dealings with the victim either? That's right, sir. Hatters don't have much to do with the brickmakers, to be perfectly honest, sir. No, I imagine not. You see, how many different ways can I put this? Neither of us have the remotest connection to the gentlemen who were inside the cabin.
Excuse me.
McGilded has something to say. Mr. McGilded. Yes, counsel? What can I be doing for you? Did the witness's last statement give you pause for thought somehow? I mean, both Bruce Fairplay and Mason owed money to Mr. McGilded, so there's a chance they've met. Not the remotest connection. Is that right now? I wonder. What are you insinuating now? Ah, Mr. Fairplay. It has been too long, so it has. Eh? If I'm not very much mistaken, I believe 'tis fast approaching, is it not? Your repayment date? I beg your pardon? You borrowed 20 guineas from me, sir. At an unconscionable rate of interest. You tricked me. It's extortion. Well now, is that a touch of begrudgery? Is it the sort of begrudgery that might motivate a fella to pass his crimes off on another? Ah. And young Mr. First. Me, sir? Oh, what do you want with me, sir? You do be making hats for a living, do you not? That there top hat sliding about on your head, is that one of your own creations, is it? Oh, well, I'm still just an apprentice, you understand? I'm learning to find the perfect fit for whatever fine gent walks through the door. The perfect fit, is it? Well, 'tis a very distinctive design, so it is. Many customers like it, I tell you. They like a distinctive touch. Customers, such as Thrice Fired Mason. There was a photographic print of the victim, submitted as evidence afore, my lord. This you mean? I can't help thinking that the poor fella's hat looks distinctly familiar, wouldn't you say? Oh. That's one of my hats. Aye, that it is. So it would seem the brickmaker was a customer of yours. The sort of customer, I'd wager, you could have had a wee quarrel with over the distinctiveness of the goods. Oh no, sir. Absolutely not, sir. Well, there's actually really nothing more to add. It wouldn't be right to say that the two fellas here haven't the remotest connection to the victim, you see. I rest my case. You little weasel. Ah, he's better at this than I am. Gosh. Mr. McGilded has certainly been thorough in his research, hasn't he? Please, don't let me little interruption hold up the proceedings. The skylight was shut the entire time. Couldn't possibly have opened it. Are you quite certain about that? The skylight was shut the entire time. I'm going to lose my block with you in a minute. He's going to lose this rag with you in a minute. That's what he said. Take a look for yourself. Go on. You see, it's shut fast now. Just like it was on the night. So it is, of course. A fellow the size of Mr. Mason could likely break right through it, still and all. What? Just looking at the size of the thing, you understand. Now hold on a minute, sir. The size of the thing means nothing. Not on its own. Let's consider the bigger picture here, shall we? Let's stop biting our cane, shall we? I was riding the omnibus on another occasion when, well, I broke wind loudly. I shocked myself with it as it happened. This is an unexpected confession, Mr. First. Oh, I just mean to say, well, the point is, I tried to open the skylight, you see. But, just my luck, I couldn't make it budge. The stench was terrible. Everyone was looking daggers at me, sir. I went as red as a rouge, I did. Are you expecting me to sentence you? Oh, no, sir. The point is, the skylight can't be opened. I tried and tried when I was in the cabin. Inside that cabin of shame.
Excuse me.
Do you have something to say about that, Miss Lestrade? Miss Lestrade. It opens. The skylight. That is what we're talking about, right? She's loading her gun. All them skylights open. Dead easy. More easily than you can load that weapon. That's a lie, I tell you, otherwise you can't do it from inside, you mug. Oh. Look, a few weeks ago I was up on the roof deck on one of them drags. And I had a great haul. I mean, I had purses coming out of me ears. Miss Lestrade, this is not the forum to be eulogizing on the subject of your criminal activities. Well, anyway, I had a bit of a scare. When I lifted the last bloke's purse, he got wise to me. All four of them surrounded me, so I couldn't hop off the bus and leg it. So, what I did was, I used the skylight, opened the catch, and just jumped right through. What? Yeah, the catch for them skylights is on the roof top side. That's why you can't open them from the cabin. The skylight opens from the roof deck. Bailiff, climb up onto the roof of the omnibus at once and verify the witness's claims. Ah, oh, my hat. See? I like I like Gina. Good character. So it appears that this street girl's statement is quite true. I don't believe it. The skylight opens, and from the roof deck. Mr. Naruhodo. This could be the clue we've been looking for. I've noticed that so long ago. Well, counsel for the defense, please continue with your cross-examination. Yes, my lord. So the skylight opens. Perhaps I should investigate for myself. Oh, oops. No, I wanted to... Let's see. So, the skylight was fastened shut before. But now, the catch has been undone. We should be able to open it. You can certainly see inside the carriage through this opening. That's for sure. Yes, there's a lamp in the enclosed cabin. So I'm sure the witnesses would have been able to see quite clearly. That's not good for us. Oh no, that's the old thing. Well, it opens.
Hold it!
We'll press this. Proof. That's right. I demand to hear it. We came here to say what we saw, I tell ya. Not for this. But you call us both shysters. Brand us criminals. You call us liars, that's what he means. And accuse us of doing it. As it stands at the moment, there's no hard evidence that incriminates yourselves, now is there? I believe we're in much the same position as one another here. If I don't crack this case soon, he'll crack his teeth. I wonder if these two men were really involved in some way. I couldn't say. I mean, I don't really know anything about them, do I? Although by the same token, I don't really know anything about Mr. McGilded either. It's so hard to know what to believe here. I think we should try to remember that it's evidence alone that can truly determine the outcome of a trial. Evidence. No one can argue against decisive evidence, including the members of the jury. So you're saying that what we need now is to find conclusive piece of new evidence. Yes, Mr. Naruhodo, precisely. Okay, this we can present. We can present the carriage.
Objection!
Let's just consider the implications of that statement for a moment, shall we? What implications, counsel? Nothing strikes me about it. Exactly, there's nothing striking about it. What does strike... What? That's not the right play. I guess we present here.
Objection!
The witness's last statement is clearly at odds with this piece of evidence. Sorry, counsel, but I fail to see the connection. What? It's the only panic-stricken look I know.
Hold it!
No motive. That's not all, is it? But they could have opened it. Okay. I need other evidence. Would it be... What would it be? His glasses are intact. Let me look inside again. Is there anything in here that shows? Wait. There's a blood stain on the floor. Oh, it's just, well, this bloodstain is so obvious, that's all. And that Van Zeeks has made no mention of it. I suppose that does seem a little strange. This is a storage compartment, there's nothing in it. Something doesn't seem right here, but I can't put my finger on what it is. Why is that blood so orange? Just to make it visible? That's blood soaked into the seat, the victim's obviously. Wait, was it? Wait, her smoke gun? Her smoke gun. I think I know what it is. I think she stole it from Sholmes. Like, actually. Wait, then this is the evidence that we need to present. The witness's last statement is clearly at odds with this piece of evidence. What? I'm gonna lose. Well, the only other angle I can... I gotta try it. McGilded's gloves.
Objection!
Because he got the bloodstain helping him up. That reveals a certain inconsistency, that last statement. As I look at you, Counsel, I see your trembling hand, your pallid expression, and your perspiring brow. I got it right. It seems to me that that is the inconsistency here. Oh, never mind. No. Thank you, Counsel. That will do. I've seen enough. According to the power vested in me by Her Majesty the Queen, I declare no further examination necessary. She'll be requesting the final decision. No!
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Guilty!
Guilty.
Rest in peace. Let's see where it lets me continue from. Hopefully not my save, otherwise we might be kinda doomed. Here, retry from this scene. How far back is this? The cross-examination. Only 2 people on the roof deck.
Hold it!
Okay, let's look through everything again. I remember seeing them both. Okay, let's look through everything I have. Result. Okay. That's not... He's missing a button. Blood. Is Mr. McGilded right-handed? I believe so. If only you'd been left-handed. I think blood on either glove would be fairly incriminating, really. So there's nothing else here. An ornate letter M. Undeniably Mr. Magnus McGilded's initial. Ah. Look at this M. If you turn it upside down, it becomes a W. A W? This is one of those turnabout cases, I'm sure of it. Nice. I'm afraid I don't know it all, but what I am sure of is that this is an M. I think it could be a W, actually. That's part of the sheath, isn't it? Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, sorry, yes. I just don't really like blades. Oh. Those don't seem like the kind of words a man with a large katana slung from his waist. That's not a blade, that's Kazuma's soul. Anyway, there's no sense in delaying it. Let's see what the blade looks like. That looks like a lot of blood. It surely is blood. The victim's. An Englishman's blood looks a lot like a Japanese man's blood. Did you think it wouldn't? Sorry, it's just that we've only arrived here in Great Britain. I'm finding it a little hard to adjust. Yes, I do understand. Why would it show it to me like it's a W? There's nothing else with the blade, right? Wait, what is that on the hilt? Is that a horse? I think it's a horse. If that truly is a W... Okay, let's open it. There's nothing else about it. It's full of gentlemen's names. I guess, okay. Well, there's nothing to gather from that. Which means we gotta look here again. Let's see. So this is the roof deck of the omnibus. Oh, must have a wonderful view of London streets from up here. This seat will say the same thing, right? Yes, it will. Can certainly see inside. I do have to go through the pursuit again. So we can open the skylight. What is this blood stain? Okay, I gotta go through pressing every statement again.
Hold it!
Hmm.
Hold it! Well, no.
Let's... Okay,
Excuse me.
we gotta go through this again. I'll press everything twice, because I just need to read everything again after we get through this. Maybe that's the hint I need? His connection to the victim is they both owe money to McGilded? Borrowed 20 guinea from me, sir. I'm trying to figure it out. Okay, so like the hat... So the fact that he owes money to McGilded is the problem here. I think that's it. I think... Yeah, I think that's it. He might have a motive because of that. Quarrel. Okay. So it's the fact that they both owe money to McGilded. They have a connection. Maybe that's what I'm supposed to present?
Hold it!
Hmm. was riding the omnibus on another occasion. Okay. We're back to this.
Wait, that ain't.
Her voice is
Excuse me.
actually like, I was trying to do, but I'm not, don't really know how to do accents. So we'll avoid those. It opens the skylight. Okay, let's see. Yeah, but it's like, I guess the pursuit already showed some of this stuff. Hmm. Appears the girl's statement's true. The skylight opens from the roof deck.
Hold it!
Proof. Hmm. Okay, let's see if I can get anything else out of here. Also, it's the Phoenix Wright omnibus. Love to see it. I don't think I'm gonna get anything different. Maybe I can examine the skylight from the inside. And this weird, very orange bloodstain. Oh! Wide enough to kick someone like you through. Certainly, Mr. Naruhodo. Why someone like me? Ah! What is it? Look, just here. Look at this. That's without question. It's the blood. Why would there be a blood stain there? Surely, it can't be unrelated to the case, can it? There's a blood stain visible on the frame of the skylight when it's open. That's what we needed the whole time. Okay. We got it. We've got him. We've got him now. There's so many things to lead you the wrong direction. Present. The bloodstain we just found. On the night in question, the victim was fatally stabbed in the stomach. And immediately afterwards, the victim's body was pushed through the skylight and into the cabin below. Those are the facts, and the irrefutable proof. It remains clearly visible in the omnibus that stands before us today in this very courtroom. What? That's utter humbug. You can't possibly have any evidence. No, you can't. I mean, we didn't do it, I tell ya. It's impossible. Irrefutable proof. Here, in this courtroom. Counsel, my lord, I believe everyone would appreciate a little clarification here. Where exactly in the omnibus is the evidence to which you allude? Okay, it's here. Oh. No, I need to press the present button, not click it. Happens.
Got it!
By Jupiter. Is that blood? Ah. This bloodstain proves two things. Firstly, when the incident occurred, the skylight of the omnibus was open. What? And secondly, the victim was already bleeding when he fell through the opening. Oh my. And so it follows that Mr. McGilded, who was inside the enclosed cabin himself at the time, cannot possibly be guilty of this crime. No. Order. Order. Order.
Hold it!
But the blood could have sprayed up there when the fellow was stabbed inside the cabin. And only found its way onto that one particular spot on the skylight. Sure, and that'd be very convenient. Ah. And let's keep in mind that the skylight catch can only be unfastened from the roof deck. I myself wouldn't have been able to open it now, would I? But, there's no way to know for certain, is there? If the gent really fell through the skylight, I mean. Why don't you have a good look at the floor in the cabin between the two seats, Mr. First? 'Tis all too plain, if you see. There's the aftermath. That shows the poor fella dropped from a fair height right there, so it is. What? No. But it can't be, it's all lies. My fellow jury members, I think we can all agree that this is clear proof of the defendant's innocence, can't we? I believe we can. Yes, sir. It's clear to me now where the filthy rubbish can be found in this courtroom. So, they could not pull over my eyes, pull the wool over my eyes, did they? I won't tolerate any more of the guild's carriages being sullied with blood. I won't tolerate it. Oh, I always knew that nice gentleman who gave us that delightful park couldn't have done such a thing. On three then. Everyone. 1, 2, 3.
Objection!
Chilling performance, Mr. McGilded. Oh, and what would you be referring to there now, Lord Van Zeeks? A bloodstain on the frame of the skylight. Such evidence is null and void. What? Why? For one extremely simple reason. That smear of blood never existed.
Objection!
What are you talking about? It's there for all to see, and it's clearly blood. It's also a little bit too orange. I personally attend Scotland Yard's investigations of the omnibus. Personally attended. The officers involved went over the carriage with a fine-tooth comb. So I can state with absolute surety. That's a word? Like, is that a word? I'm gonna fact check Van Zeeks. Person who takes responsibility for another's performance of an undertaking. For example, they're appearing in court or the payment of a debt. I'm just confused now. That was not worth looking up. At least, not until this trial began. But are you suggesting, Lord Van Zeeks, that this stain of blood was fabricated, my lord? Yes. And while this court has been in session. What? What a palaver. I must say I didn't expect such crude reasoning from a prosecutor your standing, Lord Van Zeeks. But I'm Magnus McGilded, a fellow known all over for the capital of it for his fine contributions to public life. I don't take kindly to slander, and I'll fight it to the bitter end. Even if it's rolling off the tongue of the Reaper the Bailey. Mr. McGilded, I realize that this is your first appearance in court as the accused. However, I am well aware of your involvement behind the scenes in a great many affairs of dubious nature. You're very adept when it comes to avoiding getting your own hands dirty. And each time it happens that a case you're involved in is investigated, you adapt the facts. Adapt the facts? What does that even mean? When you wield a fortune the size of Mr. McGilded's, however ill-gotten it may be, nothing is impossible. Tampering with evidence, manipulating the scene of a crime, bribing witnesses. I toast your ability to concoct The most convenient of stories, sir. Tut tut. Lord Manzeeks, this will not do, to be sure. Will it now, Council? Oh, no. I think it's fair to say, this does all sound like a rather far-fetched excuse by a desperate man. The blood on the skylight didn't exist, you say? But if you'll all cast your minds back, 'tis not truth the omnibus has been in the courtroom the whole time? How could anyone possibly put a smear of blood in it, without the world and his wife seeing? It's not right now, Council. It's true, the omnibus has been in full view the entire courtroom, except for when there was a smoke bomb that was detonated and no one could see anything. My learned friend. Here's to hearing your opinion on this matter, in your own words. As you wish. Could someone have tampered with the omnibus during the trial? If you're asking me, I think it could have been possible. As a defense lawyer, it's my job to advocate for the defendant as best I can. But still, I feel as though there's something even more important at stake here. There's no evidence to suggest that the defendant did, as my learned friend suggests. However, in terms of having the opportunity to carry out alleged tampering, there is one possibility. Oh, good gracious. Explain yourself, Counsel. Yes, there is. It seems my learned Nipponese friend has no intention of running from this deceit. Deceit? I'm sure everyone still remembers clearly the recess that we were forced to take as a result of a smoke grenade fired by the witness currently in the stand, Miss Gina Lestrade. What's going on? Be careful, Mr. Naruhodo. Cover your face. I hereby call emergency recess. The courtroom was filled with smoke, and everyone was thrown into confusion. All of us were made to leave this chamber. In that brief interval, under the veil of smoke and in all of the chaos, it could have been possible to steal inside the omnibus. Are you wise? What are you trying to pull? You rotten, feckless gouger. Feckless gouger? You're supposed to be defending me. 'Tis a wicked plot. 'Tis a wicked plot to undermine me, so it is.
Objection!
Whatever you think this is, it changes nothing. The facts are the same. After this courtroom was evacuated earlier, as a result of the smoke grenade, a number of inconsistencies materialized in relation to the omnibus. Inconsistencies such as, to start with, the storage compartment underneath the rear passenger seat. When the police investigated the omnibus, this compartment was full of the driver's items. Secondly, we have the smear of blood on the edge of the skylight. As I have said, that was not present at the start of the trial this morning. Okay, well, on the edge of the skylight specifically, we cannot be sure if it was there or not at the start of the trial, because we never opened it. Unfortunately, Lord Van Zeeks, no one is able to corroborate your claims. That's true. When the omnibus was first wheeled out, both the storage compartment and the skylight were shut. Accordingly, I'm afraid I have to say we cannot establish with any certainty if this evidence is the result of tampering or not. Indeed, my lord. No doubt there was not a single person who saw fit to verify such things. What do you think? Sorry? About the omnibus. Is there anything else unusual about the omnibus? I have an inkling? My lord. There is one further inconsistency. A mark that surely could not have been present at the start of the trial. What in the devil's name are you gonna say now? If you dare betray me, you little maggot,
Objection!
you better watch your back. Silence. McGilded. The court awaits the defense's clarification. Grr. This trial keeps swinging one way and then the other. I have no idea what's the truth and what's deception. What am I supposed to believe here? I shall have to ask you to elaborate, counsel. The bloodstain on the floor? The orange bloodstain on the floor? Because a bloodstain like this would... There's no way it wouldn't have been noted. If we consider that the victim fell through the skylight onto the floor of the cabin, you would certainly expect to find signs of blood where he landed. But, as far as I can recall, this bloodstain on the cabin floor was not there when the omnibus was first brought into the courtroom. Good lord. Yes, I do believe you're correct, counsel. Well said. Although, as advocate for the defense, one might say that was a very careless slip of the tongue. I believe that bloodstain on the floor is a decisive piece of evidence. But if the question is whether or not the evidence is genuine, or whether it was unlawfully fabricated by someone, I feel compelled to admit that there's at least a possibility that the evidence is fake. This is only getting more and more complicated. This trial is over. Mr. McGilded, I've done everything I possibly can to cooperate with the court, but 'tis all over now. But you're the defendant? 'Tis over, I tell ye. Memory, recollection, what people think they saw, 'tis all nonsense. Facts are what count, and the fact is that bloodstain is there, now. Well, and over the course of this desperate trial, long and extremely drawn out, as it has been, that good-for-nothing Reaper the Bailey has failed to present any decisive evidence at all. I'm scandalized, so I am. I thought better, Lord Van Zeeks. Well, me lord? I must concur with the defendant. The unaffirmed recollections of an individual cannot stand as evidence. At this moment in time, the particular bloodstain in question is very much in existence, and in the absence of any credible method by which to prove its alleged previous non-existence, I regret to say that it would be improper for this trial to continue. Your lordship, you can't be serious. Lord Van Zeeks, what is your position? The prosecution, my lord, has no further witnesses or evidence to present. Very well. In that case, as I believe we have explored every possible avenue in this matter, I shall proceed to my adjudication. As a formality, I am of course obliged to confirm with the defense first. What formality? As things stand at the moment, it would seem that Mr. McGilded will be found not guilty. Yes. Which would mean we've won. Is that really the right outcome here? Is it really alright for the trial to come to an end now? With all these unexplained inconsistencies? Counsel for the defense, your closing statement, please. Yes, my lord. The defense believes there is... This is a tough one. I mean, like, if it doesn't line up, because I don't think he's the murderer. Like, I really don't think he is. I feel like for the sake of the game, like for the sake of the truth, I can't let this slide. I'm here in this courtroom today to advocate for the defense of my client, Mr. McGilded. However, at this moment in time, I cannot, in all good conscience, attest fully to the defendant's innocence. What are you saying, man? Without any question, there is no conclusive evidence to prove that the defendant is guilty. However, there is also no conclusive evidence to prove that he is innocent. Order. Order. This is unprecedented behavior, counsel. A defense lawyer calling the accused innocence into question? Are you of sound mind? Oh, 'twas a grand decision to appoint you as me lawyer. So it was a grand decision. What? I must say, I didn't expect such an exciting spectacle at the end there, but still. Here, have this for your troubles. Ah. Your job here done, fella. And some fine work you've done, so you have. What do you mean? 'Tis just as the right honorable gentleman so succinctly put it before. The trial can't go on anymore. And your closing statement there was, how did he put it now? Nothing more than a formality. Ah ha 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 ha. McGilden's going crazy. I really don't know what to make of all this. Was the evidence we've seen genuine, or was it fake? His lordship would be fuming. Any unsightly rubbish should be disposed of promptly, as I said. The stinking rich are always guilty of something. You... mark my words. I feel terribly ashamed that I ever doubted that lovely man who gave us the park. Now that proceedings have unfolded in this way, I'm compelled to declare a premature end to this trial. Furthermore, the court must accept the defendant's plea. I thank you kindly, my lord. I hereby pronounce the verdict of this court.
Objection!
But we still haven't determined if the bloodstain in the omnibus is genuine or not. We don't know if these witnesses are telling the truth or a pack of lies. We have no idea about the truth. Lord Van Zeeks, my lord, the case made by the prosecution was flawed, plain and simple. If indeed the omnibus presented as evidence was tampered with, the prosecution is at fault for allowing such a disgraceful perversion of justice to take place. My sincerest apologies, my lord.
Objection!
But, wait. When we were evacuated from the courtroom, Lord Van Zeeks ordered the evidence to be secured. I'm afraid the prosecution cannot shun responsibility in this matter. That's so unfair. The culpability of the defendant has not, at present time, been established by the court. Consequently, the jury will not be required to prefer judgment. What? Well, Lord Van Zeeks, it's been a pleasure, so it has. And as for you, my dear fella, I couldn't have asked for a better defense. Do you mean to tell me this has all been a grand waste of time? 'Tis the law of the land, my good man. If you'd like to pursue this matter further, you can always go ahead and try to change the law. Magnus McGilded. Good grief. You've more to say to me, have ye? Just one thing. A warning. This is far from over. Well, something to be looking forward to then. Ah ha 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 ha. I hereby pronounce the defendant, Mr. Magnus McGilded, not guilty. I can't believe it. This is an outrage. They should have examined the evidence more. What are you talking about? With the courtroom in pandemonium for the second time that day, the judge delivered his verdict, and my first ever trial in Great Britain came to an abrupt end, with the defendant being found not guilty. Ostensibly, a victory for us. 18th of February, 5:14 p.m. The Old Bailey, defendant's antechamber. That certainly was a long trial. Ah, yes, it was. Your first ever trial on foreign soil, and your first victory. It was a wonderful performance. My heartfelt congratulations. And to you, Miss Susato, thank you for your assistance. I suppose we should be happy. The trouble is, we're still completely in the dark about what actually happened. Well, we didn't have enough time. But isn't it wrong? I mean, who was actually responsible for Mr. Mason's death? We don't even know that. The sole aim of the defense is to obtain a verdict that exonerates the defendant. You carried out your duty to perfection. That you did. Mr. McGill did. Ah, and the girl is with him too. Well, it seems the stories are true. Oh, what stories? About the 6 enormous fireworks they do be letting off when there's a verdict of not guilty. I'm sure yous must have seen them now. Spectacular, wouldn't you say? Yes, definitely. I'd heard it was a sight to behold, and to be sure it was. And I have you to thank, I suppose, for having an opportunity to see it. Ah ha 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 ha. Oh, I don't know about that. I'm not sure I really did anything. What on earth are you saying, fella? How did I walk out of there a free man, then? I don't think it was so much thanks to me as down to your planning. You're a straight-talking fella, ain't ye? I must say, you had me astray in the head there once or twice. But you're young and headstrong. Ah, 'tis water under the bridge. Congratulations, Mr. McGilded, on having your name cleared. But nothing's resolved. There's only one thing that matters to me. Oh, aye. They've all seen that I didn't do that odious and absent deed. 'Tis grand, is it not? I suppose it is. Now, the fine fellows of Scotland Yard can take matters in hand and sort out any wee details. They'll see it for what it is. They'll get to the truth. I have absolute faith in them. So I have. After all, I do be providing a good number of their wages with the taxes I pay. Ah ha 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 ha. It's not that funny. So then, as we agreed beforehand, 1,000 guineas for your troubles, fella. Oh, I couldn't possibly accept that much. Ah, bewitched. You're humble people, are you? You from the east? Well, if you insist. But have this. Still in all, you deserve a reward. Mr. Magnus McGilded. Everything is ready, sir. If you'd like, follow me into the courtroom. Into the courtroom? What's this, officer? 'Tis sooner than I was led to believe. I hope it's not inconvenient, sir. There were some changes to the schedule. Well, I must be making tracks now. 'Tis time for the inspection. What inspection? They're gonna examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. They're going to examine it again. Now? Naturally, I'm under no obligation to take part in any more of this matter now. But as an upstanding member of London society, I do be doing me best to help where I can. 'Tis a gentleman's duty, so it is. So then, fare ye well. 'Twas an absolute pleasure meeting yous. I hope you have a whale of a time while you're studying here in Great Britain. And there he goes, a free man. Oh, I forgot she was here too. Don't move. Whereas I want to say get a move on. She really does take forever to load that thing. Miss Lestrade, would you mind putting that thing down? You're a grown-up. Sorry. And I ate all grown-ups. Hate. Ah, there you are. Naughty, naughty. Running off like that? Is this some kind of picnic? Who's this little girl now? And taking that with you as well. I was looking forward to the trial run of my experimental smoke grenade launcher. Huh? Oh, do you want to play? You won't beat me. Okay. Excuse me, but who are you? Oh, good day to you. Well, I'm the inventor, I suppose. Of that machine. The inventor. Well, normal smoke grenades are so dull. Don't you agree? White, white, and more white. If you have to be shrouded in smoke, it could at least be a pretty color. I thought to myself. Do we have to be shrouded in smoke, though? At all? I just took my eyes off it for a moment whilst I was changing into a different omnibus, and she pinched it. Luckily, I fitted it with a telegraphic beacon. A what's it? What? I have no idea what this girl is talking about. Anyway, you're coming with me now. Back to my laboratory. What? What for? To apologize, of course, silly. To my technician. What? You mean say sorry? You must say sorry when you've done something wrong. Surely an adult has told you that before. An adult? I don't listen to no adults. Come along then. Follow me. Fine. Have it your way. Oh good. You see, I knew you'd want to do the right thing in the end. I'm fairly certain that what she wants is to not get shot by that massive gun of yours. Well, be leaving now then. Bye-bye. I'm so sorry for all the fuss. She was a lively one. Well, do you think perhaps we ought to be on our way now, too? Yes, you're right. But where to? Oh. We haven't had time to find a place to stay. No sooner than we had arrived in London than we had to rush here. All our traveling cases are still with the bailiff. I was originally planning to spend the day in search and lodgings. But at this late hour in the day, I'm afraid we might be out of luck. Don't worry though, I have a plan. If the worst comes to worst, I've heard of a lovely park where we could spend the night. Please tell me you're not thinking of McGilded Park. I know it may be a little chilly at this time of year, but our youthfulness will see us through. I'm not so sure about that. I think a midwinter London night will freeze a young person solid just as easily as an elderly one. Oh dear, that does not sound agreeable. Now I'm starting to regret turning Mr. McGilded down. That 1,000 guineas would have paid for a lovely warm room or mansion. And so, the trial to determine my worthiness for the study tour was over by the end of our first day in London. However, as we were soon to learn, there were more trying times ahead. Just as the Reaper the Bailey had warned, the case was far from over. Oh, an animated scene.
What's going on? Get the fire brigade! Water! Bring water, quick! What the? How did this happen?
I don't know, sir. By the time I got here, it was already engulfed.
No one was supposed to be allowed in here before we started investigating. No. Oh, good God. There's someone in there. Oh. Oh. This can't be.
And what the? Did someone kill Mr. McGilded? The Adventure of the Clouded Kokoro. Oh, Sholmes is there on the... Okay, let me... I think I'm probably gonna call it here for today. Just because if I start the next section now, it might go way too long. I also started my stream a bit late, so apologies. But yeah, thanks to everyone who decided to stop by and watch for a while. It's much appreciated. I hope you are enjoying seeing this game as much as I'm enjoying playing it. But yeah, I'm gonna continue streaming this game tomorrow night at 8 p.m. Eastern. So if you want to, feel free to come back and stop by then to see the next part. But anyways, I hope you all have a good rest of your day or evening, and I'll see you next time I'm live.